Hey, beautiful friends. I am so happy to share with you. I really want to share some vibes before I even start talking. This is day 3 of my 365 live challenge, and I mean, so far, it's been really fun. It's been amazing to know that this is going to be something consistent that I get to do every day this year. So, welcome. I feel like I want you to just feel me, hear me before I start to speak in English, so we can just go beyond just the mind level and just set the vibes with the tones right from my heart, right from my soul. So I want to share just a quick bit of light language with you before we talk about evolutionary alchemy, how we can turn shit into gold. Pardon my French, but all of that crap, like all of the hard stuff that we are going through right now and what we are going through as a collective as well as on the individual level, you know, all that nasty ick stuff, we're turning that into fertilizer to grow what it is that we're here to grow. And so I want to share with you just beyond the words what that feels like from my soul. So this is what it sounds like. De kinashketa ya ke na yamak Gea papa yeti Kestinash kanatareti eko Hareti kanapake Hiriana kiyatash teka Neyamate nakariti kavayate Dishkama. Just breathe that in. And if you did not understand that, that's totally okay. Just setting the tone, setting the vibes to talk about alchemy. This is this phase that we're in. It's the transformation aspect, or transmutation, rather. Let's be specific. When we're alchemizing something, we are transmuting it, which means changing it from one state to another in a permanent way. Like it can never go back. So transformation is potentially permanent, potentially temporary. So all transmutation is a form of transmutation, but not all transmutation is not all transformation is going to be there forever. Just like, you know, water is never going to be transmuted. It is going from solid to liquid to gas, and then it can go back to liquid and then back to solid. I am just looking at snow and freezing rain right here, so this is the example right in front of me. But as human alchemists, we are able to take whatever is happening in our world that has happened to us, and we can use it to grow something new. We can take what it is, transform it, or transmute it into something else. It's shape-shifting the experience that we have had into something new. So this is what I've always done. This is what I love to do. This is what I share with my clients. This is what I share in my certification program, teaching people different ways to do it. So I'm going to be speaking into how I do it with the full understanding that there are so many different ways as well. I think that evolutionary alchemy starts with the transformation, where we take a look at something that we want to change, we want to shift, we want to make it into something different. And first we have to honor it. That's the very first step. We got to look at it and accept that it is what it is. Because it's very hard to transform something if you are rejecting it, if you are pushing it away, if you are not accepting its existence as such. Like maybe you can, but I have found in my experience that we need to accept something. A traumatic circumstance, a belief system, anything that we're wanting to shift and change, and be like, well, it is this. And then the magic secret sauce is a little bit of gratitude, believe it or not, for it sucking, for it not being ideal, for it being an example of what we no longer want. And if the only gratitude we can find is that it's illuminating for us what we would rather have instead, good enough. Perfect. That's all we need, right? Like, Thank you, piece of crap. Experience, piece of crap. Belief, piece of crap. Piece of trauma. I'm grateful that you are showing me that I don't actually want you to be in my life anymore, and I'm ready to use it as a springboard for something new, just to point me in the direction of where I want to go, where I want to grow. And in this process of transformation, I think typically we want to transform something that feels really heavy and dense into something lighter. And sometimes the gratitude and acceptance and acknowledgement is enough. Sometimes just looking at something and going, thank you for the lesson. I'm going to consciously choose something else now. That's all we need, right? But sometimes it takes more. Sometimes it takes healing, right? Sometimes we have to move the energy through the body. Things that I absolutely love doing: breath, movement, sound. I started with some light language because that helps me move energy. It can be somebody else can be a catalyst for shifting something, right? There's a million different ways. Belief repatterning is a really powerful transformation tool that I love to use. And it just allows us to take something that's one vibrational frequency, one emotion, one feeling, and then move it up into something that feels a little bit lighter. I don't want to make any moral judgments about whether something feels heavy or if something feels lighter, right? It's not a moral matter. It's about, what do we want to consciously create? What do we want to consciously choose? So things that feel heavy in our body are dragging us down. They don't feel good. Most people don't actually want to hang out in that state. But sometimes we need to have the full experience of the emotion. Let's say if it's an emotion like we're feeling some grief, sorrow, restriction, or we're feeling stuck, like there's just something that cannot move. We can't skip over it, like hop, skip, and jump. But what we can do is truly go into the feeling, which I used to not be great at doing. I was like, oh, the feeling, do we really have to do that part? Do we have to fully feel the things? Yeah, I'm sorry, that is an essential part. But you don't have to feel it for long. You can go in, be like, what am I experiencing actually in this now? Fully accept it, feel the thing, and then typically it doesn't continue to last that long when you really fully let all of it be felt, acknowledged, accepted. And again, sometimes that's enough to start shifting it, to start shifting an emotion or feeling, and then the belief sometimes behind it that's causing the feeling might need to move too. Right? In the alchemical process, once we do that movement of that stuckness and that density into the next octave, the next frequency that feels lighter, what's happening is it creates this spaciousness inside our field, right? And that space then allows us to first breathe, have a little bit of that expansion energy instead of feeling crushed, collapsed by whatever it is that we've been wanting to shift and change. And I love in the evolutionary alchemy that I share, taking that opportunity of spaciousness to connect and really be able to anchor in and get in alignment, body, mind, heart, soul, highest self, source, whatever you want to connect and align to. And from that place, then we can really let the magic happen, right? It's that alignment with our true north, with our who we really are, I think, feeling in alignment instead of feeling like off or like something else is in there sticky and not letting us really feel like how we want to feel, like who we really are. We're able to connect with it and really become present, right? When we are feeling the heavier stuff, it takes us out of the present moment a lot of the time, or it takes us out of our ability to connect with the divine, with the sacred, with what is. And then we're able to really tune in and tap in and go, what would I like to create? We suddenly have access to our intuition, to our logic, to our reason, to more of our tools and what we are after we've created the space from the transformation. If we just stop there, though, it's great, but there's one more step. There's one more place we can go, and that is to fully, truly embody the wisdom and practice it. Practice being this new energy and this new frequency from what we were experiencing to what we are. So I want to share what that even looks like. Like when I'm working with a client, because I've been talking in general, like painting the picture about it, and that might not fully make sense. And I realized it when I was speaking into it. I'm like, why am I talking about it in the abstract? I want to share with you, if I'm in a client session, how I work with them and how I actually apply this process of transforming, activating, and embodying the energy, right? So when I'm working with somebody, the very first thing that I love to do is call in sacred space. I love to just get everybody to connect in. And it's also for me, right? Connecting in body, mind, heart, soul, and inviting in the team that we all have with us. We all have a spiritual team, guides, ancestors, friends, beings like animal friends, tree spirits, like the entire universe has energy. And you in particular are connected to different energies that want to work with you, that want to support you. And when I'm speaking in and creating sacred space with a client, I will feel what their field has in it, who's ready to support them and hold space for them in that moment. And it's so fun because some people will have, really watery vibes, and I'm like, oh, awesome. Dolphins, whales, octopus, mermaid archetypes are coming in to support you. And other people have these really strong connections to other frequencies. Perhaps it'll be like fairy energy. Maybe it is. I don't work a lot with the angelics myself, but there are people that I'll work with. I'll sit down and I'll be like, oh, hey there. All of these beautiful angelic frequencies will come and roll in with them. So everybody's got their own set of connected energies here to support and guide. When we set the sacred space and we actively use our voice to invite these frequencies in to create a little bubble, a little pocket, a little container outside of time and space, then they will actually be able to make a connection. And I sometimes ask for it to be visceral, tangible, for people to be able to feel it. And the people that I work with are people who do feel, people who feel energy, and they'll be like, whoa, okay, yes, I can feel that support. I can feel my ancestors coming forward. I can feel my guidance system. I can feel, I don't know what it is, but it feels really good. It feels like the pressure of the air changes and we're held in this beautiful bubble and pocket. And inside that space, I often ask for whatever activations and support want to come through to come through. I have the beautiful gift of being able to see, feel, hear, know what is happening. And this is all being guided by my client's highest self, by the way. I am not making it happen. I'm creating the space for this alchemy, this evolution to occur inside this little bubble, this pocket that we work in. And as I'm speaking into it, I'm basically narrating what I'm seeing and feeling on that multidimensional level, and beautiful things will transpire. Oftentimes, so often, especially the first time I work with somebody, their ancestors will come and make this beautiful ring around them, and they will share their gratitude, their pride, their love, their appreciation, their support. And sometimes it is like physical, and people will say, I feel their hands upon me. I feel them touching my heart, my head, my crown, my back. It can feel like a hug. And there are so many times when I am brought to tears because I can feel the love and sometimes the grief and the sorrow and the acknowledgement of how freaking much people have been suffering and how their ancestors can feel that and are like holding them through this process. We call them the luminous ancestors, by the way. There are activations that happen. I will oftentimes then also be just like shut off from being able to narrate anything. And I know that that is my invitation to just hold space. And what I do then is say, okay, the connection's been created. I want you to take a moment to just receive whatever you are to receive. And it's going to come through for people either in like visions and sensations and downloads and uploads and upgrades. They'll feel, see, hear, imagine it. And I just say, let whatever's coming through just be true, right? Like just know that it is for you, whatever is coming through, and trust that. And then I just sit and I hold space for people to receive their own information. When I first started doing these sessions, I would get so much information. I'd just be like, blah, 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 and I would just be sharing with them everything that I was seeing, that I was feeling, and narrating for them. And that was great, but it didn't give them a chance to experience it for themselves. And that experiential knowledge, that experience allows somebody to deeply connect with it instead of just hearing me say it. Then it's just like intellectual knowledge, right? I want the people that I'm working with to have their own experience so that they can just have the activations, have the information come through with me holding space, which makes it so much easier for them to receive the information, right? When two or more people gather together, it just like focuses the energy. And again, the people that I'm working with are ones that already have this connection and they're ready for it to be heightened, right? So people that already are intuitive, they might have their psychic senses already on. And in this process, so much transpires and it's what it needs to be. There's never any time where it hasn't been what's exactly necessary, right? But we're not guiding it from our lower levels. It's all the highest self that's bringing it forward and sharing information with us. And what comes through more than just the words that I could speak is the energy. And people feel it always, and then sometimes hear it, see it, know it, right? The energy is usually first clearing things out, removing whatever is not necessary anymore, but in a loving way, not like a get out of here, right? It's oftentimes a gold, silver, diamond, platinum light that'll come through, or maybe whoever the ancestors or whatever other beings are offering these activations and holding space, maybe they'll bring through a different color. Sometimes people will just be given a gemstone or a crystal and they'll feel the shifts and the changes and the activations through that. These crystals are oftentimes used then and placed in the heart space as an activation. And I know when that's happening, it's not being given from anything outside of them. It's not like some random being or even somebody on their team is giving it to them. It's an aspect of themselves that is returning something or making something conscious so that they can receive what's always been there at the conscious level. That's what I'm often talking about in terms of an activation. It's this like awakening of something that's been lying dormant inside. So we already have everything, right? And part of this evolutionary process is just releasing anything that's in the way or no longer necessary or no longer of ourselves to be able to see, turn on, activate, notice, be aware of what's inside of us or what's ready to be seen in us, right? We can't, although we have everything inside of us that we need, we're not capable of turning it all on and having it all on at once. So there's this evolutionary unfolding of having more and more of us come online, the more that we let go of all that we are not. That's where the transformation has to come in first, right? Letting go of old programs, belief systems, density, etc. These activations that happen in the sessions can also be coming through from, like I said, other layers and levels of the multidimensional self, different fractals of our experiences. Our infinite multidimensional soul, right, has past, present, and future aspects of selves from, our Earth lives, but also from other dimensions, from other planetary systems, from other levels and layers of existence that, can't even always be named. So sometimes it'll be Star Family that's coming forward and sharing these activations that are basically like, let's get rid of all of the stuff that you don't need anymore and remind you of what's next, right? It's like these energies will come through to prepare you for the next chapter of your life or just the next steps. And we don't always consciously know what those are, but the energies are felt and profoundly felt. And they're oftentimes activated when it's working with me in the heart area, in the throat, in the third eye, a lot of these upper energy centers. But sometimes it'll be, in the root, sacral areas. It really just depends on what is necessary at the time. And again, I'm not in charge of it. I'm just guiding and holding space for these transformations and activations of the inner technologies that are available to us to come forward and be made known, right? To be made conscious. Oftentimes, there's a voice activation that is required. And I will just intuitively know that either I'm to share some light language or some tones or something like that to activate or like lock in whatever's coming through. Or I'll say, you get to make some tones. And it's really fun because sometimes I'll hear like a tonal sequence, and then the person will go ahead and they will share that exact same one. And I'm just like, yes, exactly. That was the one needed to either unlock or activate. A lot of this the inner technology is activated oftentimes with our intention, right? Our energy, our focus, but sometimes it's voice activated. Right? And those particular frequencies that we can share will like lock things in, turn things on, clear things out. Our voice is one of these powerful creation tools. And I love supporting people in understanding that using these different frequencies in their own meditations and activations can support people, right? It can be purifying, cleansing, healing, activating, transforming, whatever it needs to be. Our bodies are these resonance chambers, especially our face, and it's really fun to play with. So once we've had these beautiful activations, we've had these beautiful energy waves of support, oftentimes intuitive messages come through, and I have this beautiful opportunity to share with people, but then I also step back then. I love to empower people to receive their own messages, because again, I don't want to just like be a psychic medium who's just like spouting information at you. I love working with people who are ready to level up their ability to receive that information for themselves. And the things that come through are always super profound. It'll be like I have full access to what they need to hear and see, and when we'll be doing things together. And then all of a sudden it'll be like a curtain is drawn and I just have to let them have their experience and hold space. And sometimes I can kind of like see what's happening, and sometimes I'm just not available. It's a private thing for them. When we do those activations and those profound things, sometimes I love to ask questions to that person once they've been really deeply connected with their high self, with their soul, with their intuition. And I'll just ask them. And in this state of having the energy held, the wisdom that comes through is super profound, because they're able to tap into more of that when, again, you're being held in that energy field. So the soul will sometimes share things, though, that the mind is not ready to do. The mind is not prepared for, or just has these old programs that say, oh no, that seems scary, let's not. So after we've gone through this process of transformation and activation, in order to get to the embodiment phase, there is this really beautiful opportunity to check in and be like, hey, ego, mind, are you okay with what the soul has shared? And typically there's gonna be some blocks saying, no, no, this seems either too big or too easy or too hard or whatever. There's blocks that come up like imposter syndrome. There's blocks that come up around worthiness, blocks that come up around perfectionism. That's a huge one that oftentimes people will be receiving the information from the soul about their soul mission, what they're going to create, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I can't because I don't know how. First off, we don't have to worry about the how so much as just the energetic frequency and setting the intention and then allowing the universal forces and creation itself to bring us the opportunities, the information, and the collaborations for the how. So I oftentimes will use one of my beautiful evolutionary alchemy tools for transformation and healing and embodiment that's called belief repatterning. And that helps the brain get on board with what the soul already knows, right? It helps us rewire the neural pathways that are oftentimes in our subconscious that are keeping us from being able to fully step into this new frequency, this new octave, this new thing that we are ready for, this new vibrational frequency. And so I'm so grateful that I have tools like belief repatterning and so many other ones that I can draw on and like alchemize for this evolutionary process that happens in a session. And then once we've got that belief repatterning locked in, we don't always have to go through the whole process, but if you've never done belief repatterning before, it's a 7-step conversational process that rewires the brain, and it's based in science, cognitive learning theory, and how the mind works, how we learn. But it's very energetic, and it works on the body, mind, heart, and soul level. And it's so much fun and really powerful, which is why I studied it, so I could bring it into the work that I do and use it for myself, because it's super handy. Then we got to bring things into the practical action. So it doesn't help, like we were speaking of earlier, to have something just as this like intellectual knowledge, this idea, right? The embodiment of it is to actually live it, to be it first, like bring the frequency from the idea realm into the body and be it. And from that place of being, do the things, right? We get to take the aligned action steps to practice. So I love finishing things off of these beautiful little alchemical pockets to go, okay, this has all been great. It's been very mystical. It's been very fun. We have ridden around on like rainbow carpets and met with unicorns and dragons and maybe gone into our heart space or into outer space. Like we go on voyages sometimes, as well as having people come to us. But what are we going to do with it? The whole point is to be able to make it practical, bridging it from the mind and into that body embodiment to live it. Otherwise, what is the point, right? It's just a fun intellectual exercise. So we make a plan together. How are you going to be this? How are you going to practice this? What is your intention? And when we do that and we bring the idea realm, all of this archetypal, mystical, magical stuff in through our heart and then back out through our voice and together set intention, we are able to make things more concrete, light ground it, and make it sometimes just lodged into the subconscious mind so beautifully that my clients that work with me on a basis where we're working together for say 6 months and we're meeting every 2 weeks, I will share with them what their intention was for the last session. What did they bring through? And most of the time they'll be like, I don't remember what I said. And then we'll read it off and they're like, oh yeah, I did that. Because you don't run through your conscious mind most of the time. What we speak of is lodged in the subconscious, like literally everything. So especially when we've been working in soul space and we've been working with the energetic support and all of the beings, it gets anchored in, and it's like speaking it out and saying, and so it is, I'm going to do this. And then you get to like set it and forget it. And then it just transpires. It just occurs. And so this is the magic that I get to do, to work with people in real time to create these alchemical evolutionary experiences where we move through the thing that's in the way of connecting them with who they really are and who they want to be. And then we get to bring that in and through and then out into the world with the aligned action. So I've done this in so many ways, and I used to do it in different forms, like when I was teaching hula hooping or ecstatic dance. And now I just love doing it in either group sessions, in the playground, in the ways that I'm working with my creation coaches, and actually teaching them how to facilitate in similar ways using this evolutionary alchemy system. I use it myself. Moving through this evolutionary alchemy process has let me do basically everything that I'm currently doing. Helps you create, manifest, connect, bring forward the things that are actually for you, not from the ego level that you just want, but the things that are for you from that soul level, aligning with your cosmic trajectory and all of that. And it's a lot of fun. And I haven't found anybody that does the work or coaching or sessions like I do. So if you're watching this and you're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I do, let me know. I would love to connect with you. But so many of the people that I work with, that I really resonate with, my soulmate clients, are here to do really similar work. And it's very, very cool to see that they are doing the same kind of process, transforming, activating, and embodying, but with different methodology, with different techniques, with either like energy work or with their breath work, with everything. So the way that I just described working in a session is one thing, but the evolutionary alchemy template is just a layer on top of it. But people that are working with these similar dynamics are kind of going through those 3 steps, just in different ways, which I love, because for me, there's no proprietariness. I didn't yes, okay, I invented the evolutionary alchemy system, and this is what I teach, but I know that it didn't come from me, for me, only to me. It came through me, and it works. It's like truth with a capital T for how you transform, grow, level up. And I'm able to witness that and see it in so many other ways as well. So it was fun to share with you how I work with clients in session, one-on-one. I'm not typically doing one-off sessions though anymore, and I'll share with you why. I sometimes do if somebody messages me and they're like, I just need to work with you, and I feel like it's just one session, or I'm not able to step into a coaching relationship with you right now. I've done a few in the past, but I'm a little bit selfish, and I really love getting to walk with someone, beside someone, to actually create epic transformation in their lives. I want to see the results. I want to see how it works. And it's beautiful because I have this proof. It's not like I'm just doing one-off sessions and then sometimes you go see a coach, a healer, you do a session with them and then you never see them again and you don't have any follow-up. You're like, I don't know how that went. How did that actually affect their lives? What I love doing in my coaching sessions is to work with somebody, and at the beginning I get to set all of these intentions and be like, what would you like to see in your life? What do you feel like is your greatest challenge right now? What's the greatest opportunity? What do you want to create? And before we start working, we work through what they want to create, whether it's in their business, in their personal life, in their just their belief systems, their identity, the way they are experiencing life. And then at the end, we're able to go back and be like, so where were you and where are you now? And after working in this alchemical way, holding space for the evolutionary process, my favorite thing ever is to show clients where they were, because they usually have no idea, because they've rewired their brain and their beingness to have this new normal, and you remind them. So I just recently had a beautiful client finish her 6 months with me, and the things that I spoke into, it's like, you wanted to know what you were here to do. You wanted to know how to share your gifts with the world. And just the look on her face was like, oh yeah, I mean, I know now. I know what I'm here to do. I know how I'm sharing my gifts. I'm already doing it. So looking back was like this, how much change had occurred at the level of the beingness, right? And it's so much fun because we got to go through this big list and be like, check, you did that, check, 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 awesome. And there was a few things that were still in progress, because 6 months is not enough time to do all of the things, but it is time to really, like, renew and rejuvenate self. And it's fun. I love getting to witness and walk with people over time to see that evolutionary alchemical journey. So I let go of having a lot of one-on-one clients because I've really been focused on my group projects and training the creation coaches. If you're listening to this and you're like, I want to learn how to do what you're just talking about, in the next few months, we'll be opening up the doors to the creation coach certification program again, where we teach people how to both be a coach and also a facilitator, to use these tools in a group setting, working with the elements, working with evolutionary alchemy, and bringing in movement, breath, sound, dance, intuition, like actually creating containers for people to have their own experiences, because that's really important to me, right? Not just teaching at somebody, not just telling them things, but to literally create these spaces for people to have that embodiment, that wisdom, those profound moments of, oh, this dropped in for me. So that's so much fun. If you feel like you would like more information, I've got information. So you can message me if you're like, yes, I want to learn how to do that. So message me and I'll be sharing more about that as it's coming closer, because I love helping helpers. I love training people. I love helping people create their own businesses, because being self-employed is freaking amazing. I love it. I am sitting at my home right now and I'm able to take this time to share with people, and I'm looking at the snow, and I was able to work on my couch today and cuddle my cat because I didn't have any client calls this afternoon. So I was able to do that. I love giving people the freedom and the ability to create what it is that's truly in alignment for them. And the people that are drawn to work with me are light leaders. They're change makers. They're people that are ready to create these shifts, but to do it internally first. So my certification program has a lot of inner work involved. It is a year-long experience, because I don't feel comfortable with the idea of people learning how to coach and facilitate in a week-long course, in a weekend course, because they might not have done the inner work, right? If they're all gunked up and they haven't done that clearing, the transformation, the inner work, the learning how to connect and bring through things, then there's going to be a lot of potential problems with their facilitation and their coaching, right? No shade, but it's a sacred responsibility for people that are going to be holding other people to do their own work first, so they can be clear and not like projecting and being messy all over people too, right? And your inner work is never over, but there's certainly a point at which you are clear enough to hold that space without letting your stuff come in. You know what I mean? So that's a beautiful opportunity. I feel like there might be someone listening to this right now or watching on the replay who might be a candidate for working with me one-on-one in this beautiful relationship of being held in your sacred divinity, to do the transformation process, and to be held in this container for a 6 or 9 month process of rebirth, rejuvenation, and renewal. So if that's you, feel free to message me. I work with people who, like I said, are light leaders, typically either entrepreneurs or wanting to build a business. I like to help the helpers. That's just who I am. It's my soul mission, right? So I also work with people who have already done in this particular, like the one-on-one mentorship, have already done a fair bit of work and are ready to take it to the next level. People who've already turned on some of their psychic abilities so they can come on these journeys with me, so they can receive the information intuitively on their own and just have it amplified, right? It's not for someone who is just stepping into that experience, but for somebody who is ready to play, to journey, like we go on journeys. The session that I described was very much like, okay, being present and held by all of the people. But like I said, we will traverse around the cosmos, journey to different sacred sites, journey to inner earth, journey to other places, whatever the highest self of the client is wanting to do, what is ever in the highest and best good. So we can go on those profound healing activations, and then we always put it into the practical application. And for those that are entrepreneurs, it's so funny because the work that I do is in my one-on-one sessions isn't so much about business building as about the like personal and intuitive development work so that they can be clear channels for their businesses. And alongside, we can like build programs and work on marketing and do other things like that. But it's not that it's an afterthought, it's just not the main focus. We do that inside the Creation Coach certification program, and that's the main focus there. But yeah, it's so fun. It's such a honor to be able to work with people in these really beautiful and intimate containers, and for them to feel comfortable and safe enough to open up to receive their guidance and to be able to witness it. I could not tell you how many times I am just like, why did I wear mascara today? Because I've been moved by the energy that comes through, the support that comes through when we're working together is unlike anything else. And I mean, when you felt that, it changes you. It changes you because you know for sure, for certain, without a shadow of a doubt, that you're never alone. You're divinely loved, you're divinely supported, you're held, and that people, beings, are working with you, and that all you need to do is reach out to them to ask for support, right? And they're there. So I'm so blessed that I get to hold space for people to have these experiences. Let me know if you want to play in these realms. You can definitely message me. And this was fun. Day number 3 of the 365 Live. If you've got questions, let me know. You can message me. You can put them in here on the replay. And I would be just, I guess, honored to connect more about this. If either of those things I was talking about feel like they are for you, you're curious, you're interested, maybe it kind of terrifies you and your heart started beating faster, it's probably an indication that there's something there for you. So let me know. But otherwise, I'm going to see you tomorrow. I will see you for day 4 of this 365 Live Challenge. Not all of them are going to be long like this, by the way. If you've hung until now, or you just joined me, you're a trooper. But I'm enjoying this. I really like connecting with you. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a witness. And I'm wishing you a beautiful rest of your day. And just to leave you with that alchemy truth, right? We have to go through the shit in order to get the fertilizer to grow those things that we are ready to create and grow. The other way I love to put it, besides turning that shit into gold, is to imagine that, as carbon-based beings, we actually need pressure. Just like coal, we have to be squeezed to become strong, right? To become hard and like diamonds shining. So I know the pressure's on, the squeeze is on, we are being challenged like never before, and we're also doing so much healing work. So I want to honor you for all that you are doing right now. It is not easy. I do have faith, and I also have this beautiful ability to remember the future and see the future, and where we're headed is amazing. Where we're headed is more beautiful than anything we could imagine. I can feel it, I can taste it, I can sometimes see it, but we're not going to get there overnight. We're not going to blink and it's not going to be there. It takes the work, and we're doing the work right now, and we are actually in the process of co-creating it together, right? So thank you for that. Bye, loves.